So I've been working on trying to develop some LED tubes that are very popular in a lot of staging design recently. Um, this was the first attempt at doing a cheaper version. Normally, buying individual units can be hundreds and hundreds of dollars. This I believe I'm going to be able to get done quite a bit cheaper. This is the first version, and I used a plastic tube that I bought at Lowe's that I've used for several other things, that is used for transporting and protecting fluorescent light bulbs. It's pretty flexible plastic, very thin. What I attempted to do was spray it with a paint that is intended to like frost glass or frost plexiglass, and it turned out okay. From the distance that we'd be using it from, I think it would look decent, but it's not too even. It's kind of hard to pick up on camera, but spray painting something like this and getting an even finish is pretty rough. It looks better on camera than it does in real life. Not that it would be too bad from far away, but anyways, a tube like this is like $6 at Lowe's in an 7-foot section, and like very, very thin, just a few hundredths of an inch thick. And then it's hooked up to one of these DMX decoders that you can find on Amazon or eBay. They are very, very simple and really pretty cheap. On Amazon, I think you can find this specific one for $20, but if you look carefully on eBay, you can usually find them for closer to $12 or $13 a piece. And then, so that's the DMX decoder that allows you to set a DMX address via the dip switches. But then we have this power supply that you can get fairly inexpensively off of eBay as well. I think that I've paid in the range of $10 to $15 per power supply. That supposedly you can regulate the actual output voltage with this little tiny screw right here. I've had issues with it in the past, actually causing some of the LED strips I'm using to fry and start smoking. But pretty simple. You just take a power cord and attach to the input right here where it's labeled AC, and then you have your ground line as well, and then it's converting to direct current. So then you actually have the option of multiple outputs here, but you obviously put a negative line and a positive line that runs directly back into the decoder right here. And then you have your common in channel 1, and then these LED strips are labeled, or they're coated with their correct colored wires, so you have red, green, blue for RGB. And this is a 3-channel decoder, and you'll want to pay attention to that about whether your LED strips are 3-channel like RGB or if they're 4-channel like RGBW. But that was the first version that I set up. I wasn't a huge fan of the way this looked overall. I could have made it work, but it would take a lot of effort. So after some research, I ended up finding some other plastic tubing from a place called Northcore Industries. It's in Wisconsin. I just happened to run across them online, and I contacted them about just getting a sample. And this stuff is perfect for this. I ended up getting 2-inch because I feel like this will be good for my application, being as people will be upwards of 40 to 50 feet away. It's very rigid. I can't compress it at all. 1/8 inch thick walls and about 2 inches across, and it does a really good job of actually hiding the LEDs inside, especially from a distance, and distributing the light really evenly and really well. I'm really excited about that. I just ordered a bunch more, and the best thing is that it's also very cheap, maybe actually cheaper than the other solution, because I don't have to do any treatment to it. This is the way it comes in its natural color. I don't have to try to spray it with any paint or frosting, so my goal with this is to do 16 60-inch LED bars. So what I'll be doing then is taking these strips, these LED strips, and for this project I've purchased RGBW, so I actually have red, green, blue, and a white channel. And you're not going to be able to make it out in here why this is on, but these have, well, maybe you can right there, these sections right here where you can see the solder, and they can be separated at those points and cut into shorter lengths and solder on new connectors. So I can actually take this whole piece that is 16.4 feet long and cut it down into 3 5-foot pieces, and then have a little bit left over so that I can have exactly what I need for each 5-foot tube. So one of those strips will be the light for 3 of those tubes. So I've also purchased more just generic 5 channel wires. So I have RGBW and a common wire. That was super cheap to buy. How many feet did I have? 40 feet. I want to say it was less than $20, and it's made specifically for this purpose, which is going to make this easy, especially keeping labeling straight, so I remember which channels are RGBW. But once again, out of that tube, it will just run down into a decoder, and this one is a 4-channel decoder. As you can see right here on the back, you have a common, and then a red, green, blue, and white channel. You still have a input up here, and then I went with a different kind of power supply, which is just basically a wall wart. It's a 24 volt wall wart that should be supplying these, and you do have to be careful about making sure that you have your power voltage rating matched up correctly. You don't want to fry your LED strips, so make sure you know if you've purchased a 24 volt LED strip or a 12 volt LED strip, and buy the appropriate power supply. But anyways, this is basically the test number 2, just kind of crudely put together, but I'm really excited to see what they look like in their finished form, and I will post another video when I actually have the rest of the pieces in to make the long ones, and when they're all set up as well.